Hi, everybody. Welcome to Square Off. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Let's meet this week's panel.
I'm Jim Mathis.
Catalina Byrd.
I'm Barry Gogel.
Richard Vatz.
And I'm Richard Sher. Welcome to Square Off, ladies and gentlemen. First, we go to Baltimore City, where the ongoing feud between Mayor Scott and State's Attorney Bates is heating up again, an issue that will most likely be settled in court. It's a bit complicated, I must admit, so I'm going to call on our attorney who's sitting there, Barry Gogel. Just try to explain this as simply as you can. What is this part of the feud all about?
Okay, so we lawyers, we live in a curious world. We have professional rights, duties, and obligations to our clients that sometimes limit our behavior. And this is even more particular for a prosecutor who represents not just an ordinary party, but the public at large and has a duty to see that justice is done. So as the top prosecutor, Mr. Bates needs information about the organizations he participates in. And if he doesn't get it, it may undermine his witnesses and his prosecutions. The mayor, on the other, doesn't seem to understand that position. The mayor, though, is in a different position. He has obligations to the public, and he's trying to reduce crime by reaching out to those who he thinks may be committing crime and stop them before they commit crime. And this requires the mayor to work closely with a population that distrusts law enforcement and the prosecutor. And Mr. Bates doesn't seem to understand that position. When you say it's going to be resolved in court, they're not going to sue each other. What could happen, and what Mr. Bates fears will happen, is that a defendant will try to exploit Mr. Bates' former association with the mayor's office and try to use that against the public and against the prosecution. That's how it could be decided in court somewhere, someday in a criminal case. But
Jimmy, what do you think?
Yes?
No, I was asking Jimmy Mathis what he thinks about
No,
this.
all I was going to say about this, not to get into a conversation on the value of Monzi or safe streets. The mayor obviously believes that in order for it to be successful, it has to operate in some sort of secrecy. I'm not an attorney, but Barry, to your point, this seems like it would fall under basic discovery and due process. And any defendant that would be directly, indirectly tied into any of Monzi's programs would have a right to discovery, and secrecy doesn't really work in a court of law, is my simplistic understanding of it.
Only if the prosecutor is associated, which you just explained why the prosecutor has to disassociate with this office. I think less about this quote feud than more about what's happened in the city this past year. Crime has gone down. Crime has gone down since both men have taken office. Both men want the same thing, for reduced crime in the city. And if they have to feud for good results, I say so be it.
Yeah, both men take credit for the decline in the violence in the city. Catalina, let's hear from you. I'm curious.
I love that everyone tries to make Ivan's ego tantrum that he's having sound more intellectual than it actually is. The gun violence reduction strategy started 2 years before he took office. He's always grandstanding. He's just upset that it's not something that he can claim as his own, and now he doesn't want to work with what's working. And so now I wonder, do you want crime to go back up because you really want Brandon's job and you want something to run on because it's working? The proof is in the pudding.
Easy, Catalina. It's easy for him to take credit because his predecessor was a complete and absolute failure. Under Marilyn Mosby, when she was under Marilyn,
Jimmy, you have your own platform. You have your own platform to attack
under Marilyn Mosby.
Jimmy, 1 minute.
The BPD.
Catalina, don't just talk.
No, she's talking over me. The BPD was standing down. Crime skyrocketed for 10 years. There is one difference in all this. It is Ivan Bates. That is where the ship turned. There's no ambiguity.
You clearly didn't know the crime statistics or the murder rate before Maryland was state's attorney.
May I make a point, please?
Yes, Rick.
The diminution of crime occurred commensurately with Ivan Bates taking office. That can't be a coincidence. That's because of Ivan Bates' attitude. And let me say, I know Ivan Bates. Ivan Bates spoke in my class. I have never, with the exception of Kathy Shalega and Robert Ehrlich, I have never had a politician in my class who was more open, clear, convincing, compelling than Ivan Bates. I think he is.
He's a great actor.
I think he's not an actor. Everything he was asked, he answered straight on. He answered questions that other politicians wouldn't answer. I think he is the reason that Baltimore City has been on the upswing to the extent that it's been on the upswing. And I think if there's a dispute between the two, I would not go with the mayor. I would go with Ivan Bates.
Catalina, what is your issue with Ivan
Yeah.
Bates? What is it?
Outside of his personality, right? So you saw what the mayor's legal response was. And so now he's claiming Brady infractions that, in fact, a lawyer just said were really rhetorically creative, but not factual. My issue is that he does not care about the city the way that you all want to present it. This is a stepping stone for him for where he wants to be. He has a lot of animosity for having not won against Maryland the last time that he ran. And I don't think, and I know that he's pro-police. I'm friends with people who are friends with him. I've met him. I know him. I can text him. I have done so before he was in office and after. So it's the way that you perform, and the way that he performs is acting like a spoiled
These are all,
child.
these are all vague
Rick
generalities.
Vatz. Barry, be brief. Go ahead.
Yeah. Can I ask
Then
why
Rick.
it has to be one or the other? Crime is such a multifaceted problem. It needs multifaceted solutions. One is responsible for prosecuting crimes after committed. The other is taking on the responsibility of trying to prevent crimes from happening in the first place. Why do we have to? I know feuds sell subscriptions and get eyeballs, but why can't they both be honestly trying to do the best with the circumstances they have?
Because Ivan won't act like a grown-up.
But there's no effort that is evident on the part of the mayor to try to prevent people from becoming criminals. Whenever I've
Did
mentioned,
you see the letter he wrote?
let me make a point, please.
Hold on, Barry.
Okay.
Whenever I've mentioned this in print, the family unit, I never get any response from people who are associated with the mayor. They don't want to talk about it. Baltimore City has 80% of single parent families. You are never going to make it a nonviolent place until you start dealing with family problems. 80% of single parent, and sometimes some people say it's more. And that's because, and Ivan Bates, when I asked him about this, was willing to discuss it completely. He's not threatened by this. The mayor is. That's why the mayor is never going to be successful on his own.
If it were just that simple, but it's not. It's a multifaceted problem.
The answer to everything for
try
Vatz
to boil
has
it down
always
to
been
one
family
element is a little myopic.
Yeah, but one thing that's not a little element was that the BPD was completely standing down for years. The veteran officers were leaving the force, that they could not recruit new officers, that there was a revolving door within the Justice Department, that the city state's attorney was not bringing charges other than if they were against police officers. So those are all material facts. Catalina, you don't like Ivan Bates because he's using this as a stepping stone. You must love our governor then, okay? I mean, give me a break, all right? That Ivan Bates is the changing point in this city. Right now, Brandon Scott has put all this political capital in this Monzi thing, which whether he truly believes it or not, I don't know. I don't know the man. The reality is there's no transparency through it. There's no way to actually calculate if it's working, if it's not. There is a lot of speculation on who's involved, how much is being paid, where the funds are going. He will not answer to any of that. So, I mean, I don't understand where your like personal hatred is against the city state's attorney. I really don't.
Catalina, we're
First
going to
of
wrap
all,
this so
hatred
you
is a
get
very
it.
strong word, Jimmy. And I don't hate him. I dislike him. And I liked him better when he was chasing roles on HBO specials that amplified himself.
All right, we're going to stop here. That was an interesting discussion. We've got to get to Minneapolis and to the White House. And we'll do that after the voice of Square Off. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to introduce Howard Mallison. Howard.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, your choice for a great meal starts at the Double T Diner. And all the menu choices served the entire day. And the Double T Diner has locations all over town. Route 40 West, Perry Hall, White Marsh, Bel Air, Laurel, Annapolis, Pasadena, and the EC Diner in Ellicott City. You've never seen a menu with so many selections. It's why the Double T Diner wins so many reader polls. Plus, Monday nights are lobster nights at By the Docks, part of the Double T family. Let them know you heard about them on Square Off. With so many cars on the road and distracted drivers everywhere, auto accidents are happening and right and left. And if you've experienced an accident, the insurance companies can't tell you where to take your car. That's why more and more drivers are trusting their auto repairs and maintenance to leading edge auto body and mechanical repair. They work on all makes and models and offer free pickup and delivery anywhere in the Baltimore area. So call them at 410-443-6433 or visit them at 5807 Falls Road in the heart of Mount Washington. They make your car look and run like new again. If you or your family has experienced a personal injury, medical malpractice, or nursing home neglect, it's time to call the law firm of Barry Glazer. He has the legal team and resources to go after the big insurance companies to get every penny he can. And with an in-house doctor and an in-house nurse, his attorneys have all the resources they need to get you that win. And that's what you're after, that win. So give Barry Glazer a call because he's your best advocate for the injured, disabled, and medically abused. That's 410-547-8568. Barry Glazer. Let him know you heard about him on Square Off. Back to you, Rich.
All right, Howard. And I can tell you that Annabelle and I take our cars to Leading Edge. Jeff Siegel runs a fabulous place. You don't have to go where your insurance tells you where to go. Just go to Leading Edge. Now, February. What a month. This is, of course, Black History Month. Ironically, as federal agents, immigration enforcement is disproportionately affecting Black, Brown, Indigenous, and immigrant communities. This racial profiling, folks, has ICE opponents speaking out during this Black History Month. Catalina, where do you stand on this issue?
You asked me because I'm Black?
Yep.
I asked you because
I'm the only color around this room today, Rich.
Catalina, I asked you because you are Black.
Exactly.
How ridiculous. Okay. The answer is no, that's not why. It's because we're crazy about it.
What's happening in Minneapolis and Maine and Chicago is the deterioration of our Constitution under the guise of protecting U.S. citizens when it really is only about embarrassment and humiliation and intimidation tactics. We all, and I guess since I'm here as the voice of the Black delegation, I'll speak for all of us. We told people that this is what was going to happen when you allow a narcissistic toddler to have absolute power. And this is the outcome that we're getting. And anybody that's surprised by it or wants to justify it either also hates people who don't look like them, or they are so deeply embedded in this cult that they are choosing to leave common sense and reason and humanity at the back door to stay in lockstep with their cult leader.
Barry Gogel, wait, let me get to Gogel because you were shaking your head yes, and then we'll go to you, Rick Vatz. What, Barry?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's unfactual to say that ICE is harming disproportionately Black and Brown and Indigenous people. And interestingly to me, those who support the Second Amendment do so as a defense to the threat of a tyrannical government. And if you want to see what a tyrannical government looks like, look at the images of ICE. But if you think what ICE is doing is okay because they're doing it to foreigners who don't look like you, then go look in the mirror and see what racism looks like. You know, Dr. Vatz, you taught me well in Hebrew school, and Leviticus says, when a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as a natural born. Love them as yourself, for you were a foreigner in Egypt.
Amen, amen, amen. Rick.
Well, I think Barry's value is very good. I just don't see how they're applied to what ICE does. If there's evidence that ICE is specifically looking to incarcerate and harass people of color, that's a problem. On the other hand, NBC says that only 1/3 of the people arrested by ICE have a criminal history, but they're not talking about the criminal history of being an illegal immigrant, which is also illegal. I think there are problems with individual ICE members. I don't think there are problems with ICE generally.
Jimmy.
I don't even know where to start. Barry, to your point, you want to be a nation without borders. That's fine. Is ICE disproportionately picking up illegal immigrants, people of color? Yeah, of course. What do you think they're doing? That's their job by description. You want to talk about the inhumanity of this? This would be 40 years of the federal government inviting people to illegally cross our borders, which is what we've done to not be a nation of borders. I mean, this is what the end result looks like. You have an illegal immigrant, and to Rick's point, anybody here illegally is a criminal by definition. They just are. You have a criminal, a violent criminal that is in jail, and you have these sanctuary states and cities that have prided themselves on thumbing the nose at ICE, at border security, at basic federal immigration law. They're trying to protect those people. The frustration out of this entire thing is that liberal cities and states have put the wants, needs, rights, however you want to classify it, of people that do not have legal stake in this country above U.S. citizens. That is where the frustration is coming from.
You also have individuals who are here legally seeking asylum who are targeted only because of the melatonin in their skin. And it was Benjamin Franklin who said, those who are willing to give up their civil liberties to protect others deserve neither. So
yeah, I'm very familiar with that
our
quote,
country
Barry.
our country is based on individual citizen rights. All of us came here at some point. Many of us came here legally or illegally. You know, in the early 1900s, there was those who passed laws, immigration laws, to keep Jewish people out.
Yeah, I got it, Barry. And by the way, FDR turned away.
And it's
you want to get into the no.
But you know what, Jimmy? I want you to explain to me why they're going on Native American reservations and arresting Native Americans. If by your definition they're criminals, they were here first, yo. They were
about
here
Indians.
First. Let's talk about the case of Garrison Gibson, who has been here legally for 17 years from Liberia that got arrested twice.
I'm not going to talk over you. This is why I have my own show. I'm not going to talk over you, okay? You want to get into, we sacrifice liberty in the name of security. I'll have that conversation every day of the week, okay? Our government has eviscerated the Fourth Amendment, has eviscerated due process, all in the name of safety. Look at the Patriot Act moving forward. Give me a break, okay? This is exactly what I'm talking about. The American citizen forfeits their rights all the time. The only people it doesn't apply to are those that illegally cross our borders. That's the only time the left becomes all indignant about the Constitution and even reads
Native Americans didn't cross any borders.
I'm not talking about the Native Americans.
Still here, and they are going into federally protected spaces. And the only reason that you get to be that indignant is because they're not going to come for you because you're a white man.
Oh, right.
Stop it, Jimmy. Hold it. Rick Vatz, did you fall asleep or did you want to speak?
No, I just think that Barry and Catalina, when they come up with generalizations, they ought to give some evidence of this. Where is there evidence that ICE, for example, goes after specifically these groups as opposed to going after people who are illegal, who happen to have a large number of these qualities?
talk to the principals at the schools with large immigrants and ask them for the evidence. 20% of children are affected. The 5-year-olds that are taken out of the homes. Listen, Dr. Vatz, I can find for you. I'm sitting here right now. I'm not talking about generalizations. I'm talking about generalizations about all the immigrants are illegal that they're going after. Those are generalizations.
Also, if you want specifics, there's a young man by the name of Garrison Gibson in Minneapolis who they came and used a battering ram to come into his home. He's not illegal. He's been doing his checkpoints for 17 years. When they took him into custody, they cut off the band that is how they monitor his status. And then they called his wife because there's two different ISIS at this point. There's the ones that's running around that were under Bavino, and they're the ones that have been operating with actual process and due process for years before. He was in ICE custody and his own ICE supervisor didn't know. Then he went to go to the check-in and they took him back into custody again. Man's been here since he was 18 years old from Liberia. He's never committed a crime. There are multiple cases of that. So it's not a generalization when every single time that the one of two bad apples that happen all look like me and none of them look like you.
Critics of Trump's immigration policy say that they feel it is setting race relations in this country back decades. Do you agree with that? You do. All right.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. We're back to prior to the Civil Rights Act because we're enforcing basic federal immigration policy. Give me a break. See, that's the rhetoric. That's the rhetoric that leads to like unintelligent conversations on this stuff. By the way, okay.
Vinny, I love you dearly, but you very rarely have intelligent conversations about anything that you don't agree with.
Look, you can take cheap shots at me all day long. You can call me the white man. Okay. See,
are you not white?
That's how superficial the argument is, Catalina.
All right, listen.
I mean.
It's very clear.
Are my eyes deceiving me?
Stop it. We want no personal attacks on Squirrel.
I love Jimmy. He just forgot he was white.
And on that note, we'll call
I'm a token white guy.
Back to Howard Mallison for these words. Howard, your mic, you're muted.
Not anymore.
No, you're very good at this.
Well, I've learned everything from you, Rich. You've been a great teacher. Pappas Restaurant and sports bars are synonymous with the best crab cake you'll ever taste. But there's lots more to the Pappas menu, a whole lot more. A host of specialty dishes you won't find anywhere else. So for fine dining, special occasions, or just watching sports, Pappas should be your number one choice. That's why Oprah put the Pappas crab cake on her favorite things list. And Pappas ships their crab cakes all over the country. With 4 locations, Parksville, Cockeysville, Glen Burnie, and Bel Air, I guarantee you'll be a Pappas regular. Yep. If you're experiencing any kind of foot pain that requires medical attention, I recommend Dr. Kelly Gogel, a well-respected board-certified podiatrist and heel specialist. No one is immune from foot problems. Also, if your concern is the appearance of your feet, Dr. Gogel has a long record of success using laser treatments to correct your issue. Plus, they're safe, painless, and go right to the root of the problem. You can believe me because I'm a cured patient, and so is Richard.
Oh, wow.
So don't suffer from the agony of defeat. Start winning with a call to Dr. Gogel at 410-753-4422. Set up an appointment. Once again, that's 410-753-4422. Back to you, Richard.
I am another patient, and she is wonderful. Her office is exceptional.
Well, Rick, it's great to know that. And perhaps before the end of the show, you can show us your feet. Okay? No, Kelly Gogel is terrific. She really is. All right, President Trump, who renamed the Kennedy Center the Trump Kennedy Center, announces that his building is going to be shut down on July 4th for 2 years to build a close to $260 million renovation. Add to this the complete rebuild of the East Wing of the White House and the construction of a huge ballroom, larger than the White House. This can hold 1,000 guests. Who knows where they're going to be able to park their cars? Construction of a so-called triumphant arch is also similar to the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. What is it with what's going on in Washington with all of these memorials and bridges? Rick,
Let me just say, I look forward to this issue because this is the one issue on which Catalina and Barry and I might unite. And I hope Jimmy will. The ego of Donald Trump in renaming everything after himself is one of the most offensive, egocentric phenomena I have ever seen. And I wish he would stop it. I think I'm well known for supporting a lot of Trumpian policies, but opposing his egocentric style, uber alles. I mean, he is just, I've never seen such a completely egotistical leader in my lifetime.
all right. Well, we hope you live a long life, Rick. Jimmy,
And
what
hope
do
you
you
don't
think?
see any more.
Yeah, look, I mean, I wasn't a fan of putting his own name on the Kennedy Center. Obviously, as far as I haven't been in the Kennedy Center for years, so renovation wise, I don't know what was needed in there. They shut the Air and Space Museum down, part of the Smithsonian campus, for about 5 years for major renovations. As far as the ballroom at the White House, I covered the White House for many years. The White House is actually very small. I know this was to try to accommodate larger state dinners. That by itself doesn't bother me, but I do agree putting your own name on the Kennedy Center, and not just on it, but above JFK's name is a little
I might
presumptuous.
mention back on January 16th, the 4 mile stretch of Southern Boulevard down here in Palm Beach, from Mar-a-Lago to Palm Beach International Airport, was named the President Donald J. Trump Boulevard. And there's also proposed legislation that would rename Palm Beach International Airport the Donald J. Trump International Airport.
Guess I won't be flying there either.
What?
I said, I guess I won't be flying there either.
I mean,
But
do we
with
really
the
think that this is
airport-
about renovations, though, or the fact that after he pulled the stunt with the renaming, that everybody has pulled out and no one wants to perform there? Like, are we just not going to call a thing and act like it's just hubris by itself?
Kelly,
Yeah, it's worse than that too. It's like a child in the sandbox who can't get along with others, so he takes his toys and go home. It's beyond megalomania to just.
He took his toys and the sand.
Look, I'm not going to defend the Kennedy Center thing, but Rick, you were talking about the airport. That is going through the legislative process, isn't it? In Florida, that's a local initiative. I mean, that's not Trump unilaterally stamping his name on the airport. So, look, I'm not going to defend this stuff. I think it's all a big distraction from what's actually going on. And, we can agree to disagree, but you look at Trump and he has delivered on a lot of his campaign promises. I think part of this is a follow the shiny thing strategy from Trump, and people, including us, are more than happy to take the bait on it.
And what you're basically saying is you don't want us talking about Epstein, huh?
I really could care less.
He's the one that said distraction, Barry. You heard that, right? But I just want to know what he delivered on.
Well, we can start with border security.
Destroying the country like he destroyed Atlantic City. Delivered on that.
Let me
Everything he ever put his name on failed and went bankrupt.
That's the one other thing about Trump style. Every time you see him in a press conference on television, I watch them because I love press conferences. I have never seen such obsequiousness, and even in a cabinet. I mean, again, I like Trump policy. I like a lot of his policies. I sure didn't like Kamala Harris's policies. I like Trump's policies. But his egocentrism is something like I've never witnessed before. And watching all of these people who just are completely obsequious to him in these meetings, and they're not embarrassed by it. It's just I've never. I mean, it doesn't anger me. It makes me laugh hilariously. It's just bizarre.
It's kind of like how at the prayer breakfast yesterday, he stood right next to a man that was praying against him and smiled and clapped because he was too asinine to realize he wasn't praying for him.
All right, and we'll say amen on that. And I will say one reminder, then we want to talk to Rick Vatz for a second. At the week's end, President Trump announced a new website where certain drugs will cost consumers much, much less. And if you want to check your meds against the policy there, you have to go to trumprx.gov. trumprx.gov. And now Rick Vatz has something he'd like to say. So go ahead, Rick. The mic is yours.
I wanted to announce this on Square Off, which is just the most wonderful show of reasonable people disagreeing reasonably. I am going to stop doing electronic commentary. It's stressful. I don't believe I do it as well as I did it 10, 15, 20 years ago, and I think it's time to stop. I am going to continue writing, but I think my time for commentary electronically is over. I am so grateful to the places that have had me. I'm not particularly grateful to the people that have canceled me, like WBAL and WCBM, but I am grateful to all the people that have had me for 50 years on all the time. And again, for Square Off, just this wonderful, wonderful show that's been on forever. I just want to say thank you. And Jimmy Mathis is my good friend who I've been on with, and Tyrone Keys and others. And today we had Catalina and Barry, who are just wonderful. It's a wonderful show of honorable discussion, and I've loved it. And I thank you all so much.
Well,
we
Rick,
thank you.
I've been known to twist arms, and I'm sure we're going to have you back on this program at some point. You can't say no to me. Well, thank you, Rick, and good luck.
Rick, I appreciate you signing my book. I hope you do write more, continue to teach about rhetoric and the art of persuasion. While we don't agree on everything, I absolutely respect where you come from and appreciate the years I've spent with you on this program.
Barry,
Yes,
on Rick Vatz. Barry?
Dr. Vatz, I know you from my
Hebrew school.
Teenage Hebrew school days, and you were a very inspiring teacher then. I may not agree with you, but you are inspirational, and I look forward to reading you and hearing from you again in the future.
And Rick,
Thank
I would just like to thank you. Rick, I had the pleasure of working with you for well over 10 years on my show over at WBAL. I met you originally, if you remember, through the great late Ron Smith, who obviously you were a staple part of his program, and you've just been such an amazing voice and so valuable in this market on so many different platforms. So it's been an honor to work with you, and more importantly, to call you a friend.
Thank you, Jimmy, and thank you, Rich, and thank you, Howard. It's just been great.
Thank you, Catalina, Barry, Jimmy, and of course, Professor Vatz, who will be back sometime, I promise, when once again
I get it.
we square off. Bet you. See y'all.